Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Tactical Games Performance Podcast. I'm here with Nick Palacios, and we're going to talk through our Utah regional event. Just go ahead and what'd you think? What'd you think of the Utah event?
It's dusty. It was dusty. It was very, very dry and dusty.
Dusty AF.
Dusty AF. Joking aside, no, the new 7-stage format was awesome. Everybody on the team thoroughly enjoyed it, especially from Saturday to Sunday, how we usually do our rollover.
Yep.
We didn't have to do a rollover, which was awesome. So that was a huge plus. We got an early night, got to get back, make sure scores were input correctly, early night at rest there. And then Sunday, we ended relatively early. I mean, versus our other stages or our other events where we run 3 stages on Sunday. I think we were done. Last launch was like 3:20. We had people on the rig stage already breaking stuff down. Everything ran smooth. Volunteers knew what they needed to do on day 2, which was awesome. There was no rollover change for different stages or whatnot. So second day, hit the ground running. Overall, I think it was one of our most smooth events we've ever done.
Yeah. What did you think about programming wise?
Programming was fun. We had a mishap on my end with the rigs, and we ended up coming out with the best rope rig stage that we did all year, which is awesome. And you guys may or may not see it again this year. So
what was that? What was the mishap?
Semantics. We're here to talk about after action report. So we're here to talk about performance of the athlete.
That is
not the team
performance. We'll talk about your downfalls, not ours. All right. So where do you want to start it out?
Well, let's start with the elite since we got him right here up front.
Okay.
Nick Denninger.
Let's talk. Let's go into the actual performance here. Let's look at men's elite.
Nick was an exciting
Denninger with a decided victory.
Yeah, not super close.
6.5, almost 6.76%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is super impressive because in Idaho, he barely missed the podium. Like barely missed the podium.
Less than a tenth, right?
And it was between him and Jared for third place for the last day. And yeah, I think it was like 1/6% or something. Yeah. It was super marginal. So to see him come out and bust ass and take first place was pretty cool.
Yeah. There was definitely, so we'll recap the top 5 real quick. We've got Nick Denninger, Devin Miller, Sal Hernandez, Landon Rasmussen, and Jake Niergarth. Yep. All of these names are names that we know pretty well, with the exception of Nick. I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I think Idaho might have been the first time that he competed.
I'm pretty sure. I tried to go back a handful of events and just recap this year and last year, and I didn't see his name, so I apologize to Nick if I missed another one, but I want to say Idaho was his first event this year.
So the funny thing was I walked up to him and I was like, hey, if nobody knew your name before, they're going to know it now.
Yeah.
Because you won pretty well. And we're looking at individual breakdowns of the stages here. I mean, we've got a bunch of first place finishes.
Yeah. If you go to the qualifier stats page that I have up.
Sure. Let's go to your stats page instead of the actual.
Well, it'll show accuracy.
We got a relatively new competitor. Idaho first comp, barely missed the podium, like that. First in division, second overall.
Yeah.
I did see there was a team that was first overall.
Yeah.
So with a point stage, teams generally are going to get more points. Sure. That's why you're seeing that. Yeah. I think if there weren't as many point stages, you definitely would have seen him in first overall. 3 first place stage wins, 2 second place stage finishes, and 69% accuracy. That's a lower number than what we typically see.
Yeah.
For winning in an event.
Yeah.
But definitely his performance that I saw, one of the funniest things that I saw and heard from the field was specifically how bad he kicked everybody's butt on oof. Let's talk about oof. Let's talk about the stages, and then we'll go and break down.
Yeah.
So stage 1. What do we have it called on here?
That was 1v1 me.
1v1 me.
Based on a classic YouTube video from back in the day.
One of the best. 1v1 me. So 1v1 me was the
marathon
target stage. 4th place finish on this one. I honestly wasn't a huge fan of how we scored this. Going back, I would change it to the way that we did it at Sniper Challenge, and when we utilize these in the future, we'll do it that way. Basically, you're getting a point. Well, it won't be a point. It'll be a 3 points, 5 points, something like that, for every time you neutralize a target.
Yeah.
So in this, it was based on first shot neutralizing vice, like whether your second and follow-up shot or any of the follow-up shots landed. So going forward, we're going to score this in the way that we scored Sniper Challenge. Stage 2, we had Will Bike for bullets.
Yep.
It's funny that I didn't notice this until the other day that you had Will as in.
Yeah.
Will was the RO for this stage. Yeah. He refuses to add a second L on his name for some stupid reason.
And also doesn't believe in dinosaurs, I found out.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
It's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, well, we're not going to. Stage 3, Will Bike for Bullets was basically a version of other stages that we've done, like burpees for bullets, where you're accumulating calories. Yep. Calories will earn you rounds, and it alternates back and forth between pistol and rifle rounds. Yep. One of the things that we heard from the field, and I didn't vet this stage. I don't think you vet this stage either, did you?
No, Tori and I believe Jen did.
We ran it at Skirmish a couple months ago. It was a great stage. It was really well done. We ended up adding an extra minute on this one.
Correct.
Just to see if we could get people closer to into the bonus calories. So I think what was the 13-minute time cap for this?
It was, yeah. And we did start to see people creep up into that 100+ points range for the work points. So that was right around that sweet spot, was that 13-minute mark.
Cool. So that one, from everybody, what they said was the bike didn't have as much resistance at that elevation, but you can't breathe because you're at elevation, so you're just like sacrificing,
robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, it still sucks.
Stage 3, that'll buff out.
Yep.
Which one was that'll buff out?
That was the first O course that we did since Nationals last year.
Yep. Yeah, that actually, so before we got there, we had talked about it, and this is from a survey feedback that we got from last event, not Utah, whatever event we were at before that.
New Hampshire.
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Was it, why do we always do a long run? Why don't we do sprints? And like, fair enough. So we did a sprint.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
It was a fun. I had a great time betting it. I thought it was super fun. You get to jump over some cars. It lended more to people who can sprint instead of just long run, which is great. And even the guys who are runners, like, they still crushed it. So I think it was fun.
So next we have Take My Strong Hand. That was the first funny stage name that Amanda's come up with.
That was knocked it out of the park with that one. We were doing the programming for that, and she brought it up, and we were both like, beep.
That was good.
Perfect.
Good job, Amanda. So Take My Strong Hand was a single hand farmer's carry back and forth for points on a 1 minute repeating clock. So a minute to gain points on the Take My Strong Hand, a minute, or on the carry. As soon as that minute was done, you had a minute to shoot pistol only with the same hand that you carried with. So if in the round you were carrying right hand, you shot right hand, you switched to left hand for the other single arm. One of the things that I really liked that we did in this was we, in the middle of that, so at we'll call it minute 6, 2 minute 7, they had a minute to reload all of their magazines. Which was really cool. I think that's interesting. Anytime we add dexterity after that amount of fatigue, it's something interesting to throw in.
It definitely creeps up on you. When I tested it, it was like right around that third round where I started to feel it in my obliques and like your forearms start to give out. And then when you're trying to jam, 3 more mags of 12, you're just like kind of starting to fumble bullets. You're on the clock. So it was definitely a fun stage. I liked it.
Back in the day, like original early tactical game stuff, we used to do, we would take apart our bolts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The problem with that is you lose a pin or you lose something, and like,
there's your match.
Or like you're borrowing it from somebody else. Like the idea of just like still having to do something that requires dexterity that was beneficial to your stage, I think is interesting. So that was pretty cool. Stage 5, Chipper. This was my favorite event of the weekend.
Dusty.
Dude, we got some incredible photos of people coming off this stage. We did a couple before and afters, but we found some props on the range. We utilized the props from the range for this event that worked out really in just a cool aesthetic. This workout kicked a lot of people's ass.
Yeah, and what was funny is when people were done and they were smiling, you could see all the dust and like dirt that had accumulated on their teeth and lips. And you're like, here's a water man. You got to switch them out. It was
everybody like, they'd come up and they'd smile at you because they were done. And it was just like dirt mouth.
Yep.
Yeah. Stage 6. Well, so Chipper was, You basically
Point
did
stage.
12 hand release burpees. You threw the bag over, you followed the bag over, you went down and you shot. And it was about 70-yard walk down to the firing line.
Yeah.
Shooting rifle, standing freestyle, pistol standing freestyle. You had the ruck on with the rifle and with a pistol, which does affect shots. Especially getting into your shoulder pocket. Like there's a lot of there's interference, there's shit there, so it gets in the way.
And both of the shots were right next to each other at 25 yards.
Yeah,
too.
so we had a really good size, a generous pistol target and a tighter rifle target at 25 yards. So then you came back and you did a lateral toss back and forth of the bags, the handled bags, went down and fired, and then the final one was a ground to, I won't call it a ground to overhead, it was a ground to back. Yeah. Basically just creating a movement that was you doing a clean up to the shoulders, walking forward, doing a clean up to the shoulders. It wasn't meant to be heavy. It was really meant to just get your heart rate up.
Yeah, and it's the volume that gets you on that stage for sure. And it was about 15 yards in between. We had 3 different drop zones for that bag. So every time you hit it, down and up, turn around, go back, 12 reps, and then shoot your last.
Yep, and then so after you've completed all your firing or all your shooting sequences, you've completed all the fitness, you can then go and earn extra points. So every one of those hits that was scored hits added points. Every rep you completed added points, and then you had some amount of time, which during vetting we saw, I think like 1:40 is what Star had, and I think Kurt had like maybe 45 seconds. The most I saw during the weekend was like 3.5 minutes.
I thought Jason. I could have sworn Jason got back with like almost 5 minutes.
Oh man, I'd love to see what his score was.
Yeah, I wish practice score would break that down. I should have brought the binders in. But yeah, I would be curious.
We can see where he placed. Well, we'll take a look at it afterward.
Yeah, for sure.
Oof.
Oof. It was. That was probably the worst stage I've vetted all year.
That was tough.
I hated every minute of it, and I didn't want to do it in the first place because I wasn't feeling it, and it was super tough. It's when I was talking to people all weekend about it, you're putting in 2 different movements that are almost like diametrically opposed, right? Like you've got guys that are lankier, taller, that can climb ropes really well, but might not be able to throw a heavy bag around.
Yep.
Obviously, you need strength, you need technique to throw a heavy bag around, and you've got both of those.
Yeah.
Every single round, you choose how you want to break up the reps. It was 4 reps and then 3 rope climbs. Yeah. And no matter how I broke it up, I did 4 bags, 3 rope climbs. I'd do the rope climbs. The bag didn't matter. It was just all brutal.
Can we go back to diametrically and then where you
opposed? That word worked. That worked. That's
no. It's great. I don't know the meaning of it. I'm sure it fits.
I'm good for a 10-cent word once a podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So that workout, give it a little bit more detail on how that stage went. Describe that a little bit better.
So you started at the firing line. Your bag was staged at the back side of the rig. So if you're looking at it downrange, the ropes are facing the audience, and then the back cross member is facing downrange. So call a go. You run up, grab your bag. You throw it over the cross member, your body goes over the cross member, and then it's up to the athlete how they want to break up their reps. So you can do 4 reps with the heavy bag first, and then 3 rope climbs. Again, however you'd like to chop that up.
So before you went to a firing sequence, you had to accomplish 4 bags over the bar, body over the bar, and then 3 rope climbs for the elite division.
Correct.
And those numbers descended for rope climbs based on your division.
Correct. And the weights drop down accordingly as well too. And then so after you finish your reps, you're allowed to grab a set of magazines, and then you can move back towards the firing line over the cross member, however you can get through. Shooting rifle from the tank trap, and then pistol standing freestyle as well too. And we did it for 4 rounds, which was a lot of volume. 12 heavy bags for the elite division at a 225-pound bag was rough for sure. And you saw some guys get broken off by it, and some guys excelled, like Nick Denninger.
So his time is 7:19.
Yeah.
So he finished that in like 8 minutes.
Yeah. Like almost like that's impressive.
And he only missed 16 shots.
Yeah.
You know how strong you have to be to do that? That's incredible. That one of the things that I saw, and speaking of Jason Kalipa's a CrossFit Games athlete. Mm-hmm. He competed in this event. He's been talking about competing for a while. He has been around that sport for a long time, trains a lot of people, has been involved in jiu-jitsu for a long time. He's a very, very fit, healthy individual. Mm-hmm. He came up to me and told me he was shocked at how fit some of the people in our competition were.
Yeah. People sleep on it, man.
Yeah.
People sleep on it until you get around these guys and you see how they train and how they compete, and you're like, oh, there's just a completely different level. Like, there's guys that are out there competing in completely different gears. You're competing in third gear, and they're in fifth.
Yeah.
You know,
it was really, really cool to see. When you and I vetted this, I didn't complete it.
No.
I finished all of the work, but I didn't get to the firing line for the last one.
I had 4 bullets in my pistol left to fire off.
I wasn't sore.
It was rough.
I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I could barely breathe, and then my legs felt heavy. Yeah. So like when I was trying to climb the rope, every time trying to get my knees up to grab the rope was rough. It was just
I never pull with my forearms. I'm really good at rope climbs.
Yeah.
I could, like, every time I was pulling with my arms, it was terrible.
Well, you're also, and what a lot of guys didn't notice when they'd come off afterwards, they're like, aside from the rope climb, obviously, like, yeah, it'll tire your grip out. A lot of guys didn't think, like, oh, the bag plus the rope climbs, your grip is going to get torched.
Yeah.
So that got a lot of guys there as well, too.
It was a cool, I thought that was a good stage for sure.
Yeah.
What is the last one? Stage 7 left?
Left at the tire.
Left at the tire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you couldn't tell from that, we went left at the tire.
Big tractor tire.
Big,
take a left at
big sled course.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably
200 meters?
200 meters or so.
Yards? How many yards is that? 200 yards.
I don't know.
Call it 200 yards.
My basic math isn't great. You know this. I would say.
We didn't hire you for your calculation skills.
No.
So, yeah, that stage was a sleeper for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You saw a lot of people that I think didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't finish that stage.
It was a rough stage. I mean, I watched some of the women's elite run that stage, and it was every step was a grind.
Yeah.
Watching them do it, and like that, and nobody in that division is a slouch. Everybody's in great shape.
Oh, we had a great women's elite field that event too. I'm actually very curious. Let's go.
Probably one of the more stacked ones.
Let's go to that stage specifically and look at how many finishers we had in women's elite. Well, Nick Denninger didn't compete in women's elite, so that's probably a stupid one.
There we go.
So Janae finished it. Blair finished it. It looks like Corinna finished it. I don't know. What was the time cap?
Lupe, it was
900 seconds. There you go. So every and Bray. Sorry, Bray.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah,
I did that, and I felt terrible.
So about half the field finished in the women's elite field. That was a tough one for sure. That got a lot of people.
I think the only thing I would have adjusted when I was doing everybody's just hit count and accuracy. I was noticing everybody shot relatively well on that stage. I think the shooting probably a little bit easy. Maybe could have extended that shooting out, but I mean, aside from that, it was a fun stage. I like the setup.
So looking at women's elite, we had 50, and then we got up there a little bit more. Let's look at what the men's elite shooting was on that one. Men's elite. Yeah, not terrible. One of the separators here, we see like JTO, right?
Mm-hmm. Shot really well.
But
Sal,
just
Clint,
didn't. Yeah.
Sal only had 2 misses on that stage, and Nick.
Yeah, damn. But Clint, good for Clint for stepping up. How awesome was that?
Yeah, that was really cool to see. I know we'd been joking about it with him, and then you kind of strong-armed him at check-in.
No, he went willingly. He went willingly.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Let's see, where did he end up? 7th place overall. Great, 81 percentile. Clint's typically a 40-plus competitor, so he jumped up, and we'd been talking about it since I met Clint about him going and trying elite. He did a
I think
job.
After talking with him, I think we'll see him there again.
Yeah. I think he obviously for nationals he wants to be able to compete with his peers, but to go out there and test yourself against the best guys in this sport specifically, it's pretty cool to see.
It's only going to make him better in the 40-plus division.
All right, so looking at the rest of our stats, where are we at? So Devin, 2nd in division, 9th overall. Again, those teams skew that a little bit. 2 stage wins. That's awesome for Devin. The funny thing is, the best part about Devin is, and Shane Coley will love this. Devin shoots a stock Glock.
Does he really?
19.
Oh, didn't you give him a trigger?
He won a competition trigger and a Glock. I think he won. I don't know what Glock they won, but he shoots like a 19 with a stock trigger in it. like not even the competition trigger. It was awesome. He finished fifth. I think you have it in here. Yeah, 2023 nationals.
Yeah.
He was fifth. 2022, he was 14th.
Yeah. Every year he keeps inching up. He's making good progress.
He crushed it last year. Definitely, like he shot well. 70% accuracy with a stock Glock is very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Sal came out. Sal had a rough stage on the marathon targets that knocked him down pretty hard. One stage win this weekend. Typically, accuracy is where you see Sal do very well. He's finished first twice this year, second twice, and third in nationals in 2022. Finished in the podium 9 times since 2021. Excuse me. I think this is Landon's highest finish we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't remember. I couldn't find his name recently, so I want to say that is probably one of the higher.
He's definitely competed quite a few times. I just haven't seen it. And then Jake's finished fourth a couple times, but he's been pretty consistent in this, like between fourth and seventh. So
I want to say Jake podiumed at GTI last year.
I think so as well.
I think he took second or third at GTI.
This year he's competed a couple times, and he's been pretty consistent in that 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the women's elite qualifiers. You can personalize text. This probably doesn't need to be up there. Women's elite top 5. So we had Janae. Crushed it.
Yep.
Janae did awesome this weekend. First in division, 32nd overall. She had 3 first-place stage wins. Let's kind of go through and just check what she's looking at in the finish for women's elite. Jump into
towards the bottom there.
Thanks. Women's elite. All right, Janae. Pretty good margin of victory here by about a little over 6.5%.
About the same as Nick.
Yep. And then Lupe and Blair were pretty close, fighting for that second and third spot. Lupe came up to me and you know, I talked to her after the sled stage. She did very well on that. Even though she didn't finish, she was composed and looked good. And she's definitely been putting in the work, like physically. It's cool to see.
Oh, for sure.
And she's been shooting her shooting was excellent.
She had 5 misses on that stage, I think, on the sled drag stage.
Wow. Yeah. Janae shot pretty light. It looks like 223 misses. So again, this number.
That's across 2 stages, though.
Yeah, right.
We only did those 2 time plus stages.
Yep. So that doesn't account for the misses on the point stages. But we have Blair here who, like, you're looking at 51 misses across those 2 stages, but just smoked it on the time.
Yeah.
Right. So, like,
which is where she excels, right? She's very physically strong.
She's jacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Corinna was creeping in here. She was very close to getting on the podium. Only a couple points away from being there. I know she's definitely got an interest in there. Jordan Sessions is a newer competitor. I think she started at athlete camp this year. This was her first time in elite. She did very well there as well. And then we had Bray and Cal and Lauren. Lauren was awesome. She's a volunteer that came out and just wanted to compete in elite, and she did a great job. She showed up. Physically, she did very well.
She's strong for sure.
I think the misses are really what got her down here. So just improving that shooting, but she definitely hung with everybody physically.
Yeah, and that'll come with more competition experience, all that good stuff.
All right. Anything else you want to cover on the elite divisions?
I mean, looking at accuracy, I mean, Janae.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of took, between her and Sal, I mean, they were only 2% away from each other for accuracy for the weekend, and Lupe as well, too.
Yep.
I mean, they all shot in that 76% range.
Obviously, Janae was the national champion last year. She's always on the podium pretty much every time she competes. There's a couple girls out there that have the same level of fitness that are anywhere even near where her shooting accuracy is. So she's definitely a heavy favorite for the national champion again for this year as well.
Definitely.
Blair, 65% accuracy, but still just physically dominant, especially when it comes to the heavier stuff. She's a bigger girl, so some of the stuff where you're moving, like it was really impressive to see her pushing herself as hard as she could on the chipper stage.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's definitely, the lighter you are, the smaller you are. I would say probably the better on the hand release burpees, but I don't know, with that extra weight, like the ruck and the bag, I mean, it's not just body weight or just body weight movement.
No, it's a lot on your muscles. Like your back, all your muscles along your spine. Those are what get super taxed, right? Yep. And that's what starts to give out. At least for me when I'm doing it, I'm seeing guys do it. It's rough. It's when you get real top heavy on those stages.
So 5th at nationals, 4-time podium finisher this year. Then we've got Lupe. Lupe didn't compete in nationals last year. I'm pretty sure her and Sale will be there this year.
Yeah.
9 podium finishes since she started competing. So definitely like a very great, very competitive women's elite field. That's always cool to see.
Yeah.
The men's elite field was huge. How many competitors did we have in men's elite? I want to say it was 26.
It was pretty high.
26 or something like that. We've got 30 signed up for our next match in South Carolina, which I'm excited about. Hepner just dropped though.
23.
Yep, 23. Poor Slade had a rifle malfunction on he fired his first round on the marathon stage.
Yeah.
And then didn't fire another round after that.
Yeah.
He had a primer stuck.
He blew a gas ring, he said, I think.
Yeah, but so he had a primer stuck in his bolt. So something happened. I don't know. It was really weird.
I felt bad for him because that stage right there is kind of his bread and butter.
The other thing that was pretty cool was we had one of our heats had 4 CrossFit Games athletes in it and Sal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, 4 people that had competed at a very high level of fitness. If you're not a fan of CrossFit, whatever, but respect the fact that that's incredibly difficult to do to earn a spot in the CrossFit Games, and to have 4 competitors in the same field that were all competitors in that, or in the same heat. It was cool to see, and not a single one of them were on the podium.
Yeah. So
why do you think that is?
Shooting.
No, shooting matters. I forgot.
Shooting matters.
Shooting in fitness sport. All right, so men's tactical. We've got Zach Reed, Derek Adelman, Jeremiah Kutschel. Jeremiah is our skirmish. This is the right Jeremiah, right? Is
that different Jeremiah?
Oh, but our Jeremiah
was there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought did he
Jeremiah
Clemens. I'm sorry. Yeah. There we go. So we've got Jeremiah Kutschel, who's not the skirmish host in Idaho.
But if you want to, hit us up. We're opening up affiliates.
Shane Coley and David Fink. So let's go ahead and take a look at these guys real quick and just kind of see performance.
So it's interesting when you look at the accuracy difference between elite and tactical. I mean, you see almost a 10% jump across the podium in tactical versus elite, which is interesting.
So if we're looking at shooting percentages, is that what you're saying? So there's a higher, 10% higher in tactical?
Yeah.
Yep. So one thing to take into consideration there is like the lighter the workload that you're doing, even with like a lighter relative fitness, the lighter workload is going to result in less fatigue. Less fatigue is going to result in more accurate shots. I would think.
To a degree. I mean, but again, it is scaled, right? So it's appropriate for their fitness level as well too. So I mean, but either way.
But 84% accuracy here for the winner, which is indicative of like a solid performance. I would say usually in the elite division we see between that 80 and 95 percentile for the podium. This 84% is really, really good. Two first, so we're looking at pretty balanced, honestly. Even looking at the overall rounds here. Jeez, got to find a better way to do this.
You get your little coffee table there. So
that's what it is. So we're looking at Zach Reed dominated Derek Adelman. That's
a hand victory.
11 points. 11%. A little bit more than 11%. Very close between second and third, though.
Just a little over half a percentage point.
Yep, and then Shane was not far behind. One thing to note, too, Shane has been a world champion pistol shooter.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool to see people. This was a Glock event. Shane is the captain of Team Glock. It's really cool to see people come in and perform at a high level from another sport. This is his first time in tactical. He competed in intermediate the first time he competed. won that division, jumped into tactical, and definitely was very respected everybody else in the division, and came up to me at one point and was like, this is a whole different thing. It's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some real competitors in tactical, which is really cool. Nick Dinsmore just barely missed the top 5, and we've got David Fink in there as well. Anything you want to talk about through here?
Man, accuracy was just the one thing that I wanted to bring up. It was pretty impressive to see just the overall misses in that division. So a lot of those guys putting a lot of emphasis on shooting, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. All right, we got women's tactical coming up next. Smaller group. We had only 7 women competing in women's tactical.
Yep.
What do we got here? So Bailey, let's check out Bailey's shooting percentages. For Bailey, we've got some 46% shooting accuracy. So seeing that go down quite a bit as compared to the women or the men's side for the tactical division. As we're increasing the competitors in these fields, you're going to start to see these numbers go up.
Yeah.
But based on a sample size of 7 women's competitors, you're 7 women in this division, which also you considered that strength-wise, the women in the 40-plus division could also compete in this.
Correct.
Because the weights
over there for sure.
Marlana has been around for a very long time. Kelsey's competed quite a few times as well. Bailey, I don't know if I've met Bailey before. Had you found her name anywhere else?
No. Well, actually, I feel like I have seen her name before, and I apologize. I just don't remember what event, but I feel like I have seen Bailey's name before.
All right.
Might have been Arizona earlier this year.
Yeah, maybe on one of the West Coast events. And we had Alyssa Seymour and Tracy Jackson finishing out that top 5. All right, where do you want to go next?
Men's 40.
Men's 40 plus. Big field, right? I think we had a pretty big field here. What do we have?
30 people almost.
29 competitors there.
Jeez.
This did mark the return of Tactical Games fan favorite, who's been around in the sport since the very beginning. Nate Drum came back out and I won't say put a hurting on, but definitely outshot Jason Deal. Pretty close, I think, in the overall standings, wasn't it? Or am I wrong on that one completely?
I'm not too sure.
I need that bar to go away. Where are we at? 4.5%.
Nate's still competing on a half busted ankle too, which is pretty impressive. For those of you guys who don't know, Nate had a pretty catastrophic ankle injury in Nevada last year. Put some duct tape and super glue together on it, competed in nationals, did well at nationals, and then had surgery on it in the off season. So he's still working through that. But I mean, his shooting is, always great, and his fitness level is always great as well too. So that won him the division this weekend. So
it was definitely, if we're looking at time versus accuracy here, so Jason beat him on the physical portion of things, pretty well. Where he really got in trouble and Jason Deal got in trouble was Nate bested him by about 50% on the misses that we can see on here.
I see Matthew Moore, who placed 16th, is the only one between those two stages. He had 18 misses versus Nate's 22. But like most guys are in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 90s between two stages, which is, that's a significant amount of misses for a couple of stages. So that's the separator there. Yep.
And so Jason Deal, he's been around competing for a very long time as well. Chad Smith's a newer competitor, definitely a great guy. He turns 50 next year, I'm pretty sure. He talked to me at the event and was like, I think I'm making that jump up with the older guys next year, which is respectable.
Have fun with John Murray. I just hit 40 plus.
Brett Lawrenson, Brett's every time we're on the West Coast, Brett's out there. He brings his boy out there. Awesome story with his boy. And then Dan Phillips round that out. James Kling's been a competitor. He was just outside of a spot there. What about Reginald? Jenna Blackwell's husband.
Yeah, it was awesome. She was not competing for the first time in I don't know how many events, and he was out there knocking it out. He did the skirmish previous to this event, so it was cool to see him out there. He was busting ass and doing his thing, so it was cool to see them switching positions,
switching spots. Anything else on the 40 plus men you want to cover?
No, that's it.
Let's talk about the ladies 40 plus. We had this is I stepped into
Wagner's.
Cougarville for a couple minutes and almost immediately regretted it. They started singing songs and chanting. Yeah, we had Becky Wagner coming in with a victory and very close to Christy.
Yeah.
Penalty wise, I think you're looking at basically the shooting here is what made the difference.
Yeah, it was. Becky shot lights out on a couple of stages. If you go into her name, I want to say it was stage 7. She only had like 2 or 3 misses on that. It was something very minimal. Yeah,
awesome.
2 shots missed on stage 7.
2 stage wins or 3 stage wins. It looks like. Other than that, just hung in there. It was very, very close. If we're looking at misses, so yeah, she had 15 misses on oof. Mm-hmm. And that could have been around not fire, stuff not fired.
Yeah.
But it looks like 2 misses on left at the tire, which is awesome.
She's at 9:33 for a final time. So with 15, so she time capped on that stage
on oof.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. Okay. Even still, like 15 misses is that was good on that stage. That was tough.
Yep, definitely.
We had Nicole Stewart rounding out the top 3.
Yep.
Tara, and then Tamara. Tamara's new, I think, this year. She started out early in the year. She's been an awesome competitor to have around for sure. Tara's been around for many years. Great to see all these women crushing it out there. 13.
Becky did a shoey.
She did do a shoey.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. 13 women in this division. Janelle, unfortunately, I think hurt her knee. And then looks like she's going to be done for a little bit.
Because usually she's on the podium, so she would have been right up there in that.
Yeah, I think it was pretty soon after into day 1 or pretty quick into day 1. She hurt herself. All right, I'll hit men's 50 plus. Men's 50 plus. And there he is. John Murray.
Smoking it.
I can't wait to see him perform. I can't wait to see him come out and compete in Elite. He told me he's going to do it one time.
Yeah. He should just come to South Carolina and do it. It's the last event of the year.
There you go. John, that's a challenge. Nick has challenged you to come out and compete in South Carolina.
Nick will let me compete, so I don't have to work all weekend.
Mark Salvador, who's in second place here, is incredibly fit.
Yeah.
Definitely
crushes it.
So misses are really what got him here compared to John. He's got it's 73 vice 21.
Mm-hmm.
Really tough to overcome a 52 miss deficit, and again, this is only on 2 of the stages because the other ones were point stages, so don't know how much further he was away there. But as far as time goes, I wouldn't say it was impossible. Definitely not likely. It's like 300 seconds off of the lead pace.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. It's hard to gain that up.
We've also got Mike Griswold, Rich Hill, and Jeffrey Plaisance.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff's from
Louisiana.
Yeah, Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Trains with Nate and Blair, which is awesome.
Yep.
I love that. Every time he comes on, it's Jeff Plaisance. Appreciate that.
Got that thick Louisiana accent. And good,
dude. Rich Hill is I am gonna say he's the captain of his fire department. Rich Hill is the one that is him and Dr. Bob Porzio, who's at this event as well, are definitely lifesavers and are the reason that we have one of our competitors still at this day because of suffered a cardiac arrest, and those 2 gentlemen definitely were pivotal in making sure that he walked away, which if they wouldn't have put him on a stretcher, he was going to. He wanted to go to the Bellagio. If you don't remember
that was a weekend. That was a weekend. Nevada will be seared into my memory forever.
All right. Anything else you want to cover for these Masters?
No. I mean, just honestly, it was a cool show out in all the qualifying divisions this last weekend, and it was cool to see the new format again, like I was saying, and everybody had positive feedback about it, which I was happy about. It's a big undertaking for the team, but I think we did really well, and it showed, and everybody enjoyed themselves. So that's what matters.
And I think we'll see that format going forward.
Yep.
Maybe there's a couple matches next year where we'll mix in some of the old school. But I think for the foreseeable future, we'll be running matches that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's efficient. So.
All right, cool. You got anything else you want to add?
That's it. That's all you got for me.
All right. Now, Tactical Games Performance Podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you guys.